we're back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Viviana. Nice to meet you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for post notifications. I promise you will not regret it. Okay, so for today's video, I chose one of your suggestions. Many of you guys actually asked me this, which is surprisingly because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, my freshman year of high school was actually pretty interesting. So I was like, you know what? Let's make this one a sit and talk type of video, and I'll save the challenges and the pranks for later on. But before we get into the video, do not mind my hair. I was in the pool yesterday and I washed it without effort because like I was gonna blow dry it. I ended up not being able to blow dry it because we were going out to eat last minute. So it's like, looks ugly. But without further ado, let's get into the video. I don't even know where to start. Okay. I guess you can start on last year. Today's June 26, 2020, which is crazy because exactly today, last year, I graduated 8th grade. So I guess we can start from there. So going into 8th grade, everybody was already like choosing the high schools that they wanted to go to. Now, my decision was already set on PCTI. PHS, prep, or STEM wasn't on my list of choices. I just wasn't allowed to go there. My mom didn't want me to go there. My dad didn't want me to go there. So I was already like, I'm gonna get into PCTI. I have to do really good. A lot of my friends are doing the same too. So everybody started getting their acceptance letters around March. I remember the exact day I was at my grandma's house. I was wearing like a pink set, I remember, and my friend, who Mary, calls me and she's like, I got accepted to tech. She shows me the letter, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy. My other friend named John got accepted. So there's like a little bit by little bit people are getting accepted, which is, I think like 3 or 4. The Maris got accepted, and I checked my mailbox and there was my acceptance letter, and I like started crying a little bit because I didn't get accepted for what I wanted, but I'm not like that. I got accepted, so I was being grateful for it. I opened it, my mom's yelling. As you guys can see, this is the video, I got it on tape. So we were pretty excited because I was like, okay, finally, this is the step that, you know, allowed me to keep going. Like, I wasn't worried about anything I was going to do after. It was like, as long as I get into tech, then I worry about everything after. So boom, I got into tech. Everybody's getting their acceptance letters slowly by slowly. And then I start realizing, I'm like, wow, most of my closest friends haven't got their acceptance letters, which pretty much sucked because I imagined my high school years with most of my closest friends that are in this picture. And at that time, me and my ex-best friend weren't cool. My 2 closest friends that I also had used channel, Malaya and Elizabeth, no, didn't happen. My boy best friend, Cameron, no. Most of the girls that were in that picture, no. And I'm like, at this moment, I was like, I don't even know. Like, I was just out of it. I was happy that I got accepted, but the ones that I wanted to bring with me weren't coming with me. So it's pretty devastating. Well, it hurts me because I was like, I'm gonna have to, like, you know, go out there, and I'm not like that. Like, I become friends with my ex-best friend again. So I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit more confident. I got into culinary. There I was gonna be with John and Kayla. I was good. First day of high school comes, right? And I was like, okay, this is pretty good or whatever. It was going smooth for the first couple of months. Now, me and my ex-best friend created a YouTube channel, as many of you know, the VK way, over the summer. So the first couple of months of school went pretty smooth because she was my best friend. I did everything with her. We did everything together. We went out together, basketball games together. It was always us two mostly. So I was like, okay, I'm set. About 1 week into the first week of school, these group of seniors used to hang out outside the CAF. I would walk by them, and some of them are probably watching the video right now. I would walk by them, and they would call me Gina. And I'm like, who are they talking to? Because it would be me, Kayla, Angel, Haley, John, a big group of us just walking down the hallway. And I'm like, I want to know who they're calling Gina. After a while, we started picking up on it. They were looking at me. So I'm like, now do they have the wrong person? Are they calling me someone that I look like from tech? One day we're walking, and this just keeps happening. This happening. These 2 girls were behind us, and they were like, they're really calling a freshman Gina. So one day I grew the balls, and I was like, I walked up to them, and I was like, my name isn't Gina. And they were like, no, but you look like her. And I'm like, who? And they were like, my wife and kids. I searched it up, and I'm like, do you guys think I look like her? It's just so funny to me because this whole time they're calling me Gina, and I'm like, who's Gina? And they're calling me Gina from My Wife and Kids. My voice keeps cracking. The first thing that changed my entire view of tech had to be, it was this incident that we did for a YouTube video. It wasn't even for a YouTube video. Intentionally, we were going to do it outside. We just decided to like play around with it in school. It was the fart spray in the classroom prank. I did it. This whole situation got caught up. My teacher wrote me and Kayla up, and we had ISS for 3 days. I didn't like it at all because I felt like she was very biased. So by this point, I didn't really have that much friends. I made more friends like Alex and Alicia, Kaija, Angelise. I was already getting familiar with a couple of people. So it was only me. It wasn't only me and Kayla. I had others as well. Let me see. After ISS, things went pretty smooth. There was this one time I had students CAF, right? And in tech, culinary split up into students CAF, teachers CAF, bake, and pro start. So it was my round to go into students CAF, and I was with my friend Haley. And me and her got written up for not having our uniform. And when we would not have a uniform, we would stay in the room. But we necessarily aren't supposed to do that. We got written up. My dumb self, pulled up in discipline with my pink sweater. And in tech, you're not allowed to wear non-tech gear. I get 2 days of detention. So I'm like, this is really getting me mad because I'm getting like discipline back to back. I'm already iffy about tech. I'm already like so mad because I didn't like any of it, how it was going out. I was like, this is my second time already doing ISS and detention. And it was starting to get to me. I was so focused on me, the VK way, that like my grades started slipping too. I started going to C's. And I was like, no, I never get C's. I'm always A's and B's. I still can't. Ew, I look a mess right now. The thing that changed everything, like I just stopped liking tech in general. Like I was so excited to be there. And then at that point, I was like, no, get me out. Get me out. I just stopped. It was during cheer tryouts. So cheer tryouts went like in order of the sign-in sheet. I signed in with my 2 other girlfriends. And we were like 22, 23. We were like almost top list because it was over 60 girls. So we was good. Our spot was good. So now she's calling us up based on the order, like the first like that. And then she calls my 2 other friends. My name wasn't called. So I'm like, that's kind of sus. So everybody's going and it's just going. And I was like, yo, the line starts going like around the cafeteria tables. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm the last one sitting down, and this other girl, she pointed at the other girl, and she was like, did you sign in? And she said, no. And so she came to sign in. She points to me, she was like, did you sign in? It was 2 coaches. And I was like, yes, I did. So I walk up to her. The other coach was like, oh yeah, I remember her signing in. You're going to be put with the other girl that didn't get to sign in. So I'm like, I know where I signed in. Is there any way I can just go to my spot? And she was like, unfortunately, no, but it won't change anything. Now, in my head, I was like, she gonna tell me it's not gonna change anything? I know it's gonna change something. You're gonna tell me that you're gonna wait for me to go. I'm like the 70-something person to see if you want me on your team? No, I know for a fact they was gonna stop like at least 40, 50. Like they weren't gonna go all the way to choose their spots. You know what I mean? The first 20 that they wanted, boom, 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 that's it. So I'm like mad. I'm a little bit of mad. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep my confidence in check. So I'm good. So I'm going and I go to try out and they don't even look up from their screens. So I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm like, oh, hell nah. I walk out of there with this face and I'm like, they're going to tell me that it wasn't going to change anything when they didn't even look up from their screens. I got so mad that I started crying. And I'm one of those people, like, when I get mad, I start crying. I didn't even make the softball team, and I didn't start crying. But I started freaking crying for cheer because I felt like I wasn't given a good chance. Like, it wasn't that difficult. I knew where I was. You could have just put me there. I start walking out. I'm on the phone with my mom, and I'm like, no. And I start crying. Like, not OD, but I start crying. And in the bus, I was so mad. I think I have a picture. Oh, I think my friend Haley has a picture. And I'm crying. I'm like, yo, not OD, but I was like, everybody told me tech had favoritism. I didn't see it until then. I was like, yo, it is what it is. I got over it after a day. And I was like, you know what? Whatever. Next summer, I'll be able to try out for football cheer. The only reason I didn't try out for football cheer that year is because I was in DR. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try out this summer if they still have the tryouts. And hopefully I'll get into that. So this happens around my birthday. Yes, like around November, December. Around my birthday, I was already cool with some of the seniors. I was already cool with a couple upper grade classmates because I did weight room. So I met a lot of people. Not as much as I did at the end, but I met more than I walked into. It was my birthday and things were going well. I guess this is when you can say this is when problems started arising with me and my ex-best friend. I'm not going to go into much detail with this because we don't speak on it. I don't want to speak on it. I moved on. It's irrelevant. By the end of January, I was best friendless. I lost two of my closest friends that I was always hanging out with. I'm not even going to lie. It hurt. Shout out to Shirley because you just texted me and I saw your message and that just made me smile. Love you. I'm not even going to lie. It hurt. Because it was like I was always with these two females. I'm not saying like it was always us two. I didn't have other friends. I had other friends who were still like on my side or whatever. So I was like, okay, but like there was times where I thought like wow, I could really be with them right now. They could be with me. Not OD, like it was whatever. We started fighting. We fought like 2 times, arguments. A lot of people knew different stories. They had their story. I had my story. I kept my story the same. Rumors started rising. More arguments. Yes, mid-February. I do not remember arguing with them after February. So it was already like smooth. Like I was already, I know for a fact, by end of February, I was already so used to not having friends because my friend had her sweet 16. If I had to say what was the reason why I was able to move on so quickly from losing 2 of my closest friends was because of my friend's sweet. To go into more detail, my friend Kiana had her sweet 16 that year, and I met friends through her sweet 16. I became closer to Tiffany. I became closer to Ibby. I'm not even going to go into too many names, but after Kiana's sweet, I was more diverse. Yeah, like I already met a lot of people from that sweet, and I started to like communicate with their friend groups and whatever. I'm not even going to hold you. I became friends with people who I thought I wasn't going to be friends with, and friends with people that my ex-best friend wanted to be friends with, who she didn't even get to be so close with. So I was like a little bit, a turn of events. I didn't expect it at all. Like I was already becoming friends with other people that it was like, am I really going to be friends with them again? So yeah, that's a picture of the sweet 16. And because of also my other really close friend, Haley, she was friends with other people. Like, I usually kept my circle small. She was different. Like, she knew a lot of people. So I became friends with a couple of seniors in my shop. And Haley was, like, she introduced me to some people, like, not OD. So it was like, okay, at this point, I was like, okay, I'm fine. I was straight chilling. I wasn't worrying about anything. People would still ask me, like, oh, you have friends? And I'm like, no, we're not. And they would call me names because I was moving on from it and I was being careless. People really called me a bitch for that. Like, but yet if I was stuck on them, crying over them and beasting them, I would be a what? That's one thing about high school. I'm going to make another video on like tips, but I'm just saying my advice is not that good. So the tips I'm going to give you is based on my experience. I became friends with people, so it distracted me from all those problems. There's not much more I can speak on due to the fact that we went into quarantine in March. Yeah, we went into quarantine in March. But March is when I had softball tryouts, and coincidentally, it's not even a coincidence because I knew she was going to try out. My ex-best friend was there. So things are pretty awkward. However, she hung out with one girl who was a friend of ours. I guess you can say a mutual friend. So it was not like she kept her distance. She tended to be around us because our circles were just connected. Like it felt normal for her to be around and for us not to talk. I'm not even gonna be on. I'm not even gonna lie. After we started fighting, I used to have pictures of her on my Polaroid wall, and I took them off. I took them off my wall with my other close friend. It wasn't meant for like me to hurt me more, to hurt them more, to make me seem like a bitch. It was more like closure. It was more like closure, baby. Closure. Oh. That's the word I was looking for. That was like food to my ears. Another way I got my closure is that like there was a couple of nights where I would just like, I don't want to say a couple, like 1 or 2 nights that like I would just sit back and I was like, I didn't expect myself to be at that point. And there was this one night that I wrote a long paragraph to them and just breaking everything. I was like, you know what? I know I said some really messed up things, and I did, because when we first argued, like the first time the problem started coming, I said some messed up things, and some things I meant, some things I didn't, and I'm not going to take back what I meant or what I said, but I needed to apologize for things that I said just to get them mad, because there was a couple things I said. I even called her a dog. We were obviously going to be around each other a lot. So I was like, you know what? It's best if we just drop this, like, feeling when we're around each other. It was always just, like, this feeling. She even sent me a video. I'm not even gonna lie. I looked at it and I shed a couple of tears. I was like, wow. This hit. Softball season. Tryouts for tech. Now, everybody was, like, because we knew that coronavirus had just broken out. Everybody was like, what's gonna happen? Whatever. I made first cuts and I made second cuts. Did I make second cuts? Yes, I made first cuts. No. I don't know. All I know is that I didn't get cut off the first time. The first around the tryouts. So I'm like, okay. I just laid low. I didn't even worry about boys really. I was just worrying about passing freshman year. And I passed. These are my grades. I passed, so I was proud of myself. And I was really stressed out. And I'm telling you, if I would have kept going with that relationship that I had from the beginning of the school year, my grades would have been. So that's basically it for my freshman year, because we went into quarantine. So overall, I think my year was all right. It was 1/4 of it was iffy. The second was, it was good. Third was just, fourth was just great. So I give my year, let's go with a 7 out of 10. My freshman year was pretty good, not even gonna lie. It could have been worse. That's what I'm saying. It could have been worse. So I'm not gonna try to change the fact that it was a good year. I went to a lot of football games. I went to a lot more basketball games than football games. I became friends with people who I didn't think was gonna be friends with, but I'm glad I became friends with, because I met a lot of people that are like chill people. Like, they're cool. Like, I loved having them around. I started like hanging out, being more diverse, and I liked it because I put myself out there, and it was like something that I wasn't able to do on my own, because like I'm shy and whatever. So being able to like, that was one of my accomplishments going into tech. Like, I want to come out with a good amount of friends, and I did. Like, if you have any story time suggestions, let me know in the comments, because that'll be interesting, because I will not hold anything back, and I will just truly just say anything. And if you watched through all of this, you're a real one, and you truly have my heart. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, bye.